Hello everyone. Hello internet. New twink personality just dropped. Grab a snack, grab a seat, and welcome to the garden of my thoughts. Allow me to sprout some new ideas onto you. I just thought of that right now. Anyway, it took me like an hour to level up my camera, but now that we're here, I don't want to take it down, so I'm gonna force myself to speak words because holy crap. What a wonderful year we're living in right now. 2025, the year where nothing bad is going on, and it's a wonderful time to be queer. Am I right, fellas? You know, everything's just going so great for us. Everything is in our control, and nothing is going wrong. I say, lyingly. Stuff is crazy. Stuff is insane. I don't even know where to begin, so I'm not going to talk about that. Instead, we're gonna talk about some of the effects of it, I say. Warning. These are my unfiltered thoughts, opinions, things I say, honestly, are probably not gonna have a format because I am not planning any of this. This is the speech that comes from the internal organs that's, you know, you get me, you understand. Shit I might say might be contradictory, might not make sense, and maybe won't even have a thematic purpose because this ain't no essay. This is just how I feel. And unfortunately for you guys, I have a camera and this funny mic, which I hope I'm not blowing out. If so, I will just do this in post. But anyway, welcome to my mostly unedited and unfiltered thoughts about everything. All right, so let's kind of jump into it. Things are crazy right now for a lot of people, for a majority of reasons. There's a very big looming one that I don't need to talk about, but we all feel is there. And it's led me to a couple different trains of thoughts. So much is going on right now that is out of our control. There was so much that's happening that we don't have a direct effect on, that is being taken care of in higher levels that the normal everyday people, at least the people here in the grand US of states where I currently am located in, can't do much about, right? And it's led to, I've noticed, anxiety, stress, and a bunch of crap going on to everyone that I know. Family, coworkers, friends, and all the folks everywhere have started to feel these kind of effects of just this lack of control. And it spurred on a train of thought because I started noticing things in me and how I interact with people and how other folks interact with each other in seeking control and trying to find something to grasp. And it's led me to this idea that, and it's, you know, probably everyone probably has this too, but you know, this lack of control, this major lack of control that we're facing right now, I have seen has put some people to grasp at straws, right, and to grasp for what they can maintain, and that sense of trying to grab control bleed into everything, especially what I've noticed in relationships between people. Right? All these, whether you're, you know, friends, partners, or something, you know, whatever, we're constantly seeking control. Especially, I think, now more than ever because of everything that is going on. And I think that's just really interesting. I definitely, and I'm sure a lot of people might fall into this too, the moment things go kind of downhill, I'm like, all right, what can I do? How can I get something back? How can I make myself feel as though I have some sort of authority over what is going on? Sometimes I feel like that comes out and a lot of people buying random shit. Damn, that's crazy. I totally didn't drop a bunch of money on things I didn't need. Anyway, filled the spiritual satisfaction though. The yummies right here are so good right now. But yeah, just trying to grab everything that we can to feel better. And it's a fleeting thing is what I've noticed, because despite how much we try and grab for, you know, some authority over ourselves, it doesn't ever solve the major issues that we're facing, right? The bigger things that are happening. And it makes me wonder, you know, is this cope? Are we coping? And is this a really healthy way to cope? Swinging from one pendulum to the other, from a complete lack of control to a complete I need everything to be functional in some way, shape, or form that I know that I am maintaining, is that necessarily the right thing? I don't know about that one, Chief. Like everything, I think there should be a balance, right? But in chaotic periods, it's really hard to think about that in such a clear way to go about doing that. So how do we do it, right? How do we go from this extreme to the other in like not as much of an extreme? How do we find that median? It's really, really tough, especially coming from that sense of like nothingness, where it's like, oh, what do I grab? Nothing. Oh, damn, that's crazy. Whether it's like someone walking out of your life that you couldn't prevent, or, the loss of like a loved one, or even, losing a job. I know a lot of people that are in very chaotic states right now because of certain stuff happening that are people losing jobs, job market's crazy, it's like blah, 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 blah. All that crap, right, is going on. And man, it's just the way that it hits people is it's just been interesting. Something I've noted, because it's hit me too. It's hit me quite a bit. So where do we move from here, right? How do we go? Ugh. That is an insanely tough question. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And one thing that I find that has been really helping me, we're the transition thought from what the problem I see is, and maybe how I've been attacking. Maybe this might help some folks. Is the small things. I've noticed that like all these major changes and events that have been happening. I mean, so context, my ass is a 2000s baby. I was the year of the dragon in the Chinese zodiac. And, right at the tail end of the 90s, it's still early enough to like see that 90s culture bleed in. So all my folks in those weird in between years, hello. I forgot where I was going with that. Where was I going with this? I blanked out for a couple. The reason I bring that up is because my generation, and I feel like the people around this, we've gone through so many different life-changing events, from, COVID, America, and the really interesting turn of events with several different presidencies, all the stuff going on overseas, the wars breaking out. There's so much that goes on that I feel like we become numb to it. And there's so much that's out of our control that we just can't maintain anything. And that sense of overwhelming, smallness, I'd say, sometimes gets to us. It gets to me. And it hits me sometimes where I'm like, oh man, I'm a little small fish in this funny big pond. I'm a small sprout in this big garden. I can't compare to the carrot. What's going on? It's like, what's happening? So how do we face that, right? How do we fight that? Back to that, what I was trying to transition into. Something that I've noticed helped me are the small things still, I'd say. We can't control the big things. We can't control what, the world decides to do, but we can control how we react to it, how we respond to it, and how we decide to move forward. You can either break down and let it continuously beat you up, but at a point in time, is that all you're gonna do? Are we just gonna wallow? Are we just gonna sit down? Are we gonna be nothing while the world continues to just pa 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 smack ya? I hope to gosh not, because that's kind of sad and depressing, and I've already had enough of that. So at least for me, the smaller things that I can make work, I do, and I don't mean like. And when I say what I control, I mean the things in my life. I think something we place, or I think something we do that may not be the best is placing a lot of expectations to others, seeking to control others as well. And that's a whole other discussion for another thing. So when I say this, when I say the small things that we can control, I mean the things in our daily lives, right? How we treat people, how we maintain our space, our daily rituals and habits, right? Do you go to the gym? Do you make music? Do you write? Do you read? Do all these little things? No one can take that away from you at the end of the day if you choose to make it happen. And despite all the craziness that's going on, it has made me feel a lot better. Even strumming my guitar for a little bit, writing and journaling my thoughts. And well, now for me, this. You guys are subject to the process of which that I am using to have some semblance of control. I turn on the funny camera, I speak my funny words, and then maybe someone hears this, understands, and like probably relates. because I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way. Especially with the people that I talk to, and the folks that I'm around and where I live. It's like so much going on, so much we can't do, but there is also so much we can. And I think it's important for us not to let go of that, not to let go of the things that we have the ability to do in a healthy manner, right? Wake up, feel good, take each day and move forward, right? In a healthy, positive manner, because there's so many ways to cope. And there's so many alternative methods to coping that a lot of people end up turning to, whether it's drinking, smoking, or I don't know, being super, super casual. For me, that was a big thing I had to cut off. All my past dating experiences were like so bad, and put me in like this area of, oh man, I want to, control something. And that was a path that I was like, oh, cannot never do that again. Feel like shit. And when we do all these things that are easier to go through, that enable us to keep making poor decisions and to see control in this negative way, instead of acknowledging the things that we could do that would benefit and grow us. And these small matters, because they're small, because they're tiny. And because they're tiny, we don't necessarily acknowledge the good that it does. And maybe that's something we should start doing, right? Acknowledging the good in the small changes and the small things and those little steps that we take, because eventually they lead to bigger ones, right? We just don't notice it. It just happens over time. Yeah. Give grace, guys. Dude, stuff is crazy. Stuff is going to keep getting crazy. I think things are going to get crazier. Oh my gosh. What are we, April? We're by the day of recording this, and I'm probably going to upload this pretty soon too. April's almost over. May is going to start pretty soon. How are we going to be 5 months into the year and everything's going on? Let's get a break, please. Let's get a break. 2025. Stop it. Stop raw dogging me, dude. It's chill out. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are my ramblings. None of it probably makes sense, but I speak it into the world, and you listen. Anyway, I'm gonna go do some things now. I don't know, actually. I think I'm gonna go practice my guitar. All right. Go do things. Give yourself grace, people. Stuff is crazy. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it overwhelm you, even though it is overwhelming. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're valid. But that's okay. All right. Anyway, I'm done. Goodbye. Bye.